What's happening, everyone? My name is Phil with PrecisionLED.com, and today we have a 2013 Lexus IS we'll be installing LED interior lights on. Now, this installation is compatible with year models 2013 and up. It is considered the third generation of the Lexus IS, and this installation is compatible with the IS250, the IS350, as well as the S Sport variants on that model. For today's installation, we'll be using a 5730 style LED conversion kit. That's our premium model. And you can find this kit online at PrecisionLED.com. Included with the kit are 3 interior trim tools you'll see us use for the installation, as well as a Phillips head screwdriver you'll need to do a portion of the install on these vanity mirrors, these reverse mirrors. For today's installation, we'll be working on the front map and dome lights. There's 3 in the front, as well as the rear map and dome lights. There's 3 in the back. The courtesy door lights here on the front, driver's side, and passenger doors only. Like we mentioned before, the courtesy puddle lights here on the rear view mirrors. This is actually one of the best upgrades you can do. It looks really good. We'll also be working on the trunk light, as well as the backup reverse lights. So let's go ahead and get started. To get access to the courtesy puddle lights here on the rear view mirrors, you're going to need the fat end of the crowbar tool, as well as that Phillips head screwdriver. First thing you need to do, you're going to push this one here forward just so you can see, and we're going to use this tool. And don't worry, when you push this thing around, whenever you hear the clicking noises, that's just some of the plastic gears that you're rubbing over. Not a big deal. You're going to take this tool and use it to pry off the mirror from the rest of the housing. It's held in place by 4 tabs, and all you're doing is getting enough leverage to remove those tabs. So once you have the 2 at the bottom, you're going to push this down and get the 2 at the top. All right, and so what we did here, there's 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they were just held in with some pressure, and all we did was pull them out. You do want to make sure you give pretty even pressure with this tool. Any single point that you're forcing against too far, you could crack the mirror. This is like $35 to replace. I've done it before, so you just want to be careful not to break this. Once you have this exposed, there are 5 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that we're going to remove so we can get this panel off. Now that all the screws are loose, I'm going to push this thing back so you can see. This gray cover comes off. It just slides out. And this comes away. What you have now exposed is the side blinker, which we're not going to touch. But down here at the bottom, you have the housing for the courtesy puddle light. You're going to twist this counterclockwise to remove, and just replacing it with one of our LEDs. Now the LED we have here is a premium 5730. It is not polarity specific, so when I plug it in, I don't have to worry about what orientation it's in. And you can take the keys and hit unlock with all the doors closed. You can test to make sure that light turns on. Now that we know it works, put it back in the housing, clockwise to lock it back in place, and we're going to reinstall everything in the same position that we found them in. So, the connector here is going to face closest to the assembly, and there is a small tab that will hold it all in place. Once you have that back, This is going to come on and slide into place. Just like that. And when you turn it around, you want to make sure this seam is nice and tight. And you also want to make sure that that courtesy puddle light here down at the bottom is not moving around, as well as this side blinker light is correctly in place. Now that we have that done, put all the screws back in. All right, now that that's secure, the mirror goes back on. Now you want to line up these 4 tabs here with the edges. And once you get one on, it's pretty simple to get the rest. You just press in each corner. And then I would actually use your palm to force the rest of it on like this. And now you're good to go. Hit unlock to see what it looks like again. It looks really nice. We're looking now at the courtesy door light on the driver's side. You're gonna take the pointed end of our wedge tool, just come in from the side at the top, and I guess in the corner here is where you're prying it out. And as you notice, one side has the electrical assembly, so if you were to have tried to pry it out from this side, you'd end up breaking this assembly right here. So you want to come into the side that's actually further away from the end of the door panel and closest to the hinge. When this thing comes out, you'll notice it's like a 2-part assembly. We're actually going to unplug this here so we can let the bulb cool off a bit. But this whole portion has to come out for us to work on it. The way that comes out, there is a small tab here. You're going to kind of just lift it up a little bit. And if I can hold it right, I can show you. You're going to lift a little bit, and you should be able to slide it out. There you go. It exposes access to the bulb. Further, there is this little hood here that it comes out of, and now you actually have access to the bulb. Now this one's going to be a little hot. Just need to remove it with a cloth so you're not burning your hand. Then you're just putting the new LED in. When you put these new LEDs in, whether they're standards or premiums, our 5050s or 5730 style, you want to make sure that these metal leads are kind of pushed out to the sides, and that makes sure that you get contact with the connector here when you reinsert. This housing goes back in place, fits nice and snug, and we'll plug this in just to show you that it works, like that. When this goes back on, start out a little bit, and then you are pushing it in until it clicks into place, just like that. Now the wired part goes in first, and you snap this in. We're looking now at the front overhead console on the IS, and we have this panel here that needs to be removed to access the front overhead dome light in the center, as well as the 2 map lights. We're going to be using the fork-shaped end of the crowbar tool, and we are coming in from the top side here, inserting the tool, prying down. Got one side out here, come around here, there we go. Now this is actually a lot easier than the previous generation where you had to remove a good portion of the console just to access, so they've made an improvement. We have our 3 bulbs here. All right. And all we have to do is pull them out one by one and replace them with the LED. Again, these are not polarity specific, so you don't really have to worry too much about whether or not they're going to work. Make sure again that your leads are pointed outward, whichever LED you do end up using. You want to test to make sure they all work. And then you put the cover back in place. Now this cover only goes in one way. The side with the protruding tabs goes in first here. And then you push it until you hear the click sound from each of the 3 portions. Just like that. And you're done. We're looking now at the rear overhead console. Very similar process to the front. You're taking the front end of our fork-shaped wedge tool, and you're going to be prying from the sides closest to the switches on this one. There's 2 sections here, one here and one here, that you're going to be prying from. Just insert, and you're prying back. As you can see, we got one side. And really the key benefit to these tools is you're not going to scuff up the edges of these panels because this is a malleable plastic. Oftentimes people will use flathead screwdrivers and they'll actually make gouges here in the plastic. You can't really get rid of that without replacing the whole panel after you've messed it up. Kind of learned by experience on that one. Same process, we have 3 bulbs here. We're just going to pull them out and replace them with our new LEDs. We can test the 2 here with the switches. This one's a center dome light, and see, that one works. This one goes back on, same way it came out. The back side with the protruding tabs goes in first, and you just lock this in place. And you're all set. For the vanity mirror lights, it's very similar for both the passenger and the driver's side. Looking here at the driver's side, you can use any of the tools. We're going to use the fork-shaped wedge tool. Going to come in from the side here, and pry down, and removing the panel here. So what you need to keep in mind is that the wiring harness is always going to be on the side closest to the interior. So on the passenger side, the assembly will be faced this way. You want to pry down on that side. This one is a bulb we can grab and remove with our fingers, placing it with a new LED. To test to make sure these work, you just slide open the housing, and now you know it works. To reinstall, you got to get this panel in first, or the wiring in first, and then you're just pushing up. That's it. For the trunk light assembly, we're going to use the butt end of our pointed wedge tool. We're going to come in here from the right hand side. This is the side that does not have the wiring harness. Pull in, push down, and you expose the entire housing. Now, we're going to unplug it so we turn the bulb off. And we have to remove this black housing, pry up, you pull this part off. And normally you would just use your hands to pry this out. It's a bit hot right now, so I'm just going to use this pointed wedge tool just to pry it out like that. And we're putting our new LED in place. Put that black housing back on. And when you plug it back in, you should get the light. Wired side goes in first, and you push it back up into place. And that's all. For the backup reverse lights, it actually takes a lot less effort than you might think. We have 2 tabs here to remove that will allow us access to replace the bulb. This is where this tool comes in handy, the fork. For this one right here, we're actually going to go inside the panel and work our way in and pry off like that. For this one, we can go on the outside and pry out the tab like that. Once you have these two out, you can bend this back far enough for you to be able to see the connector here. Now instead of using my hand, I'm going to use a pair of pliers just so you can see in the video. But this one turns counterclockwise. And the assembly comes out. We have a 10 LED 5730 style premium bulb that we're using for our backup reverse. This one's really bright. And you just replace the bulb, just like any other. Once that's in, putting the bulb back into the assembly, turn clockwise and lock that in place. Now what I would suggest is you do it on both sides. Actually have a friend put the car into reverse with the brake on so you can see the lights working before you go ahead and put this back together. So I'm going to at least do that now, and hopefully you'll be able to see some of the light to show that that's turned on. And as you can see, got a brand new light, much brighter, much whiter, much nicer. I'm going to put these back in. All you have to do, slide these ones back in place. Do the same thing on the passenger side, and you're all set. For the courtesy footwell light here, we need to remove this panel here that pulls down. There are two screws, one here and one over here, that we need to remove to get access. With the two screws out, this panel here will come down. You just pull down. It should pop out, and now you have access to this bulb here. Twist counterclockwise, and that should get it out of the housing. And we're going to remove it from the power lead so that it cools off a bit. And this one's been on for a little bit, so the easiest way for me to show you how to remove this bulb, I have a pair of pliers here with some duct tape on it. And I'm just gonna grab the bulb and pull it out. Now, if you don't have pliers, you could wait a few minutes for the bulb to cool down, just use your fingers, but I wouldn't want to burn myself. Just to show you. We have the new LED. Make sure your leads are pointing out to the sides. Goes in nice and snug. Plug that back in. So much nicer. Now to get this assembly back together, you're just going to push it all back into place and put the screws back in. Now I don't need to show you the passenger side because it's actually a little bit easier. Same method, there's a panel that pulls down, but there are no screws holding it in place. So you just pull on it, the whole thing drops down, and you install that new bulb the same way we did here on the driver's side. That's it.
And that's the end of the installation. If you have any questions or concerns, please email us at help@precisionled.com, or you can reach us online and submit a support ticket at www.precisionled.com/contact. Now, like we said before, please like or subscribe if you enjoyed the video or enjoyed the process for what we do. It really does help us out when we make the next one, knowing that there's people out there watching the videos. Have a good one.